It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join News Director Paul David and News Editor Philip Catafamo as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics in Yavapai County that affect all our lives. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio with us today. We are sitting down with Collections Team Director Nathan Porter and Public Relations and Marketing Director Lisa O'Neill from the Clarkdale Historical Society and Museum. Welcome back, Lisa.
Thank you. Good morning.
Nathan, welcome for the first time.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Good to be here.
ClarkdaleMuseum.org, the website to go to.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, I went there this morning for, 10 minutes, and I got sucked into the yearbook page. And I was reading about people from 1920 and their experiences in Clarkdale and their experiences of graduating from Clarkdale School and going out and setting forth. I only read one person's story, but it was the presentation they had made. And it was really amazing just to look back at that time. And then I took the 1920 yearbook and compared to the 1950 yearbook, just to see how much growth Clarkdale was going through. And Nathan, you were saying before the show, it's been kind of this, it was kind of a steady uptick and stuff through there. So let's start at the beginning. So tell us about the Historical Society and the Museum. What's it all about?
Well, if you are in Clarkdale, whether you're passing through or whether you live there, you're part of the story. You really are.
Right.
And so the museum is trying to take the stories of all the people, even actually before people got there, because we've got a great geology exhibit. There was a mastodon discovered in Clarkdale at the cement plant, yes. Huh. Not a live one, of course.
Right.
And then, of course, the Yavapais, the Apaches, then Senator Clark. So there's a lot there, but every single one of us is part of the story going forward. And so that's who we are. That's who we are. We're Clarkdale people. We
should really talk about the fact that the building that it sits in, now I know it as the old MVD building in Clarkdale. I remember as a kid going in and doing, your license, registration, all that stuff, and having to drive to Clarkdale to go into the MVD building. That building, though, has got quite a history attached to it. Who wants to talk about that?
I can.
Okay.
That building was a clinic built to take care of people during the Spanish influenza, which killed so many. And the response was very much like it is today. It was to isolate people and to don't go out if you're sick, that type of thing. So from then, it became the library for a while, and then the MVD building.
For a while, it was also the police station.
It was the police station, right. Uh-huh.
We actually have a jail cell down in our basement that we take people to when they tour.
Right. When they're bad.
Right. And it was also, it was a town hall also, the Clarkdale Town Hall for a short time. I think before it became MVD.
Wow. So it's been quite a few things over the years.
Yeah, it has. And the town of Clarkdale still owns it. They allow us to use it.
How big is it? It's not very big, right?
It's not very big.
I didn't know it had a basement. But about how many square feet we're talking about? 1,200, 1,400, a couple thousand?
Yeah, not real big. Maybe
big enough for a museum for Clarkdale?
Just regular house size, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you have enough room in there?
No.
Of course not, right?
It's getting tight, yeah. We store all our donations downstairs and on shelves. We have a couple of rooms there where we put things. So we could use more space.
Mm-hmm.
One of the really cool things that he has down in he pretty much he rules over the basement. One of the cool things is each one of the old Clarkdale houses, all of them are on the National Register of Historic Places. The whole town town site. Each one of the houses is in a ledger, so you know when it was built, who lived there, who their kids were,
really,
who they rented a room to, because if you didn't own a Clarkdale house, you lived in a Clarkdale house, and if you lived in a Clarkdale house, you were required to rent space as needed by the company, definitely company town.
I didn't know that. So the people that worked for the smelter and the mining, they didn't own those houses.
Oh, no.
Those were just those, because it said the senator built Clarkdale to house everybody that worked in the mine.
Right.
I didn't know that. So then it was automatic. It's like, okay, you've got a family of this many, but you can fill this rooms. But if you've got this room empty, then you have to rent that room out.
They were specifically designed so that you can see it in some of the uptown houses, some of the bigger ones, that you'll have a front door here and another front door right here. And so that was for the renter to come in. And they all had rules. We've got a copy of them in the museum, of course, and some of the older houses do too. There were a list of rules posted in your house.
To follow if you're going to be staying in the house. I'll be darned. That's amazing.
We have all the information on the houses because the whole town in the 80s, someone got the information together and made an application to get on the National Register of Historic Places. So the historic town there is actually part of the National Register of Historic Places. So a lot of people will call up and say, I live at such and such address. I want to know if I'm on the historic register. So that's the question we get a lot, and we have all the information we give them. We actually have pictures of their house, well, from the 80s when they first collected all the information. And then we have other historical information, like when it was built, how much it cost when it was built, and some of the features like wood floors. Some of the houses have maple floors, maple wood, and then some have pine.
And this is all documented then?
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, that's amazing. I saw the one picture, it's taken kind of above Clarkdale's downtown park where the gazebo is, and it points towards Mingus Mountain in the background, and I'm like, oh, I've spent so many Halloweens on that street right there. I know a lot of the houses that are along there. And it's neat to see what isn't there anymore. I mean, just like me growing up here in Cottonwood, there's so much more now than there was when I was a kid, and I can picture it when there was nothing here. Mingus, actually, you crossed the big field and there was no Fry's, there was no Home Depot, none of that stuff was there. So yeah, it's pretty neat to go back. How far back do you have? You've got stuff all the way back. All the way back. Now, if I come through the museum, am I going to see like from the dawn of Clarkdale's time until present through the museum, or how do you work out the displays that you have there?
Well, since the building has been closed due to COVID, we are reorganizing our displays a bit. You can certainly go through online, and we've got all the information, and we're delighted to have that, and I hope that we talk about some of the programs we have online.
Sure.
But yes, you can see we've got a great display of the geology, the mastodon, all the early houses. In fact, that was a project that Nathan had me on. I want him to talk about because he has some great volunteers working with him. The different houses, the specific architectural styles, the buildings downtown, what they were, what they are, all the way up to not exactly the present time, but very close to it, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. We have all the information on the historic Clarkdale, or most of our information is on the historic Clarkdale, the company town from 1912 to about the early 1950s after the smelter closed, because the town didn't really grow until the later 50s. But most of the information we have is on the company town.
Right.
When it started, how it all got started, huh?
Right, but in the 50s was when Clarkdale incorporated, when it quit being a company town, because after the United Verdi Copper Company, there was Halliburton owned it, Phelps Dodge owned it, which became Freeport-McMoran, which is now doing a soil cleanup from the smelter.
Right.
So it just keeps going. The story continues. That's why we're all part of it.
Yeah, we're all making history every day, aren't we?
Every day.
Let's take our first break. ClarkdaleMuseum.org. If you go to the website, you will find all kinds of amazing things to look at on that website and read. Collections Team Director Nathan Porter in studio with us today, and Public Relations and Marketing Director Lisa O'Neill. The Clarkdale Historical Society and Museum, countywide, back in just a couple minutes.
Terrifying jobs. Bull Rider, take 2.
Cliff, this seems like a really terrifying job. Why do you do it?
I love protecting the bull riders when they get bucked up.
How big are these bulls?
12 to 2,200 pounds of pure muscle.
You're not cowed by any of this, obviously. Is there anything that scares you?
Yeah, distracted drivers terrify me.
two things we can count on every year.
A new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
The EPA says C&B Construction ranks in the top 1% nationally. C&B Construction invites you to see what energy efficiency and indoor air quality can be. We have won another Department of Energy Innovation Award, and C&B Construction is the only contractor in the country to win 6 consecutive EPA Indoor Air Plus awards. Experience our zero-energy, move-in ready homes at Crossroads at Mingus.
C&B Construction, locally respected, nationally recognized. Find out more at candbhomes.com.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Welcome back, Countywide. We're sitting down with members of the Clarkdale Historical Society and Museum. ClarkdaleMuseum.org is the website you want to go to, and you can take a look and a tour through the museum right there at your own home, on your phone when you're not driving down the road. But yeah, on your phone you can do it as well. Now, we wanted to make sure we talked about the programs that are offered, so let's talk a little bit about that. What kind of programs?
Well, we've got Clarkdale Historical Society and Museum has done First Friday presentations. They're put together by Ruth Wicks, who you know quite well. She was an educator at Mingus. So those are presentations from local folks talking about their history, their family's history, perhaps their ranch. We had the director of the Archaeological Society come in. One of the ones we had was Vincent Randall, who is just a treasure trove of information. He's a Yavapai Apache elder. He's the cultural director, I believe, for the nation. One of the things that he said that just stuck with me is you have to tell your story. You have to tell your story, otherwise somebody else will come along and they'll tell it, and they weren't even there.
Right.
And it was just so great. So we've got several.
You just honored him on May 15th, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what a response we got. We got over 8,000 hits on that Facebook post. Plus, it was just a lot of people are interested in that. But we've also got some oral histories that he's done, some of them just recently, which will be posted very soon, talking about Little League, talking about how the churches were organized in early Clarkdale, and how, it was Little Leagues, churches, and what was the other one?
Mingus Union.
Mingus Union, how it got its name. Fascinating.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So people like that, people like Peggy Hicks, who has written books about the area, all have either oral histories or First Friday presentations that are available on the website. Another thing that Nathan and his team have been working on is slideshows, narrated slideshows. Do we have any pictures of those that I sent you?
I don't know. They're popping up as we're talking.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
they are. Yeah, pictures
so those
popping
photos are from things like the old Clarkdale Golf Course, which was right by Peck's Lake. Very lovely place. It had a dance hall. My husband played golf there, so it's not that old, but where the Clark Mansion used to stand, and as we were talking about, it burned down, so history goes away.
Sad,
gotta treasure it.
When it burned, it reminded me of the Old Town Cottonwood Theater when it burnt down. I remember sitting in there and
me too. My feet stuck to the floor.
Yeah. I remember that too. So when I know when that one burnt, I was like, oh my gosh, so, the theater's burning up. And then when I heard, the Clarkdale Mansion went down, I thought, oh, that's horrible too. So yeah, we lose some of them, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
And then people come back. Like the Tavern Grill, has brought that building back to life. And that's part of the mission of the Historical Society and Museum as well, is bringing things back to life. Since people cannot go in the museum, we are taking the museum to them. We've got a banner on Main Street in the old Miller building, Miller's Market, depicting that building. It sat empty for 30, 40 years, and then Drake Meinke just purchased it to extend his copper art museum and make a gift shop. He's allowed us to put a big banner in the window, and we intend to put more. The next one will be about the banks, and then just all the buildings in Main Street. And then also Main Street Cafe has a flat screen TV with our slideshows.
Okay.
So you can sit there and eat your great burger or pizza and enjoy a slideshow.
The virtual home tour also.
Yes,
yeah,
virtual
home tour. And is that coming up? Because that's something you guys, there's also a link on the website for that too. So I got to think the virtual home tours, when is it?
It's there.
It's there.
Virtual home tour. So we used to do in-person home tour, historic home tour in Clarkdale. We'd get several homes in the town, and people be willing to let people come in and like tour their homes.
Right, yeah.
But because of the pandemic, we filmed a home tour. So we went into people's houses. We had filming the owners, and they could talk about their homes and how they got it, and their history. So that's on the website now. There is a charge for that because the home tour has always been a fundraiser for the museum. So there's a small charge, but once you pay the charge, then you can download the video and you can watch it.
God, I hadn't thought about that, but you guys probably haven't had any income coming in at all for the museum for quite some time.
We've been pretty resourcul.
Have you?
Yes.
Yeah.
The first Fridays used to be a big fundraiser. Everybody, we'd pass the hat and everybody'd throw in $5. The home tour was our biggest and still is our biggest fundraiser of the year. So the virtual home tour, the lovely thing about it is it's available anytime.
Right.
And so it's kind of influencing the way we plan for the future as well. It's a great show. It's not that long, but you can be comfortable, and you can drive around Clarkdale and try to look for those houses, and you can see the different architectural styles. The owners were so gracious in telling their stories. It's really lovely. So I encourage anybody, pay the $20 and look at it. It's really fun.
Let's jump on to reenactments. We got a minute before we take a break. So there's a reenactment that's done.
The reenactment is also on the website. Nathan, would you talk about our little piece of history we've got right here?
Sure. We have the pocket watch that saved a man's life. During the home tour, we would have a reenactment of the bank robbery that took place at the Bank of Arizona on Main Street in Clarkdale in 1928. The robbers came in, they got their money, and the bank manager convinced them not to lock them in. So as soon as they got in their getaway car to go down the street, the bank manager grabbed his gun, he ran outside and took shots at the getaway car with the bank robbers. And unfortunately, there were people there on the street, and one person was actually hit by a bullet, but incredibly, he had a pocket watch, and the pocket watch stopped the bullet, probably saved his life. And then eventually the sheriff happened to be right in the area and saw the getaway car, and he shot at the bank robbers and actually hit the driver and killed him, and then they were able to apprehend the other guy. The driver was killed and the other guy was arrested.
And that's the pocket watch you bring us today there, which
with a big
really
dent
amazing.
in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What's this over here real quick before we take a break?
This is a small replica of the Cottrell plant. It was the second smokestack that was put up at the smelter back in, I believe it was 1923. So when they demolished the smokestacks in the 60s, this one was demolished in 1966. This is sort of a commemorative plaque that they made out of copper.
Gotcha.
That was made in the mill.
Makes sense it'd be out of copper. Let's take our break. Clarkdale Historical Society and Museum in studio with us today. The website is clarkdalemuseum.org. Tons of information on there. Stick around. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
Who doesn't dream of home improvements? Perhaps your kitchen, the real living room. Maybe the bathroom, where you bookend your day. Langstrand Contracting is your one-stop shop from tear down to finishing touches. With 35 years of experience, Chris and his team will work with you to match your family's style and budget. Call Langstrand Contracting today for guidance in bringing your vision to life.
Hi, this is Greg at Verdi Solar Power. You know, Arizona has lots of clean, renewable sunshine, and we want to help you take advantage of it with our quality solar installations, and we offer to beat any written offer on a residential solar electric system. So bring us your electric bill and let us show you how solar power will save you money. We're located conveniently here in the Verdi Valley and are dedicated to helping the valley go solar. So remember, the energy solution comes up every morning.
Starting in the late 1920s, Grandpa Gettle and his brothers laid the groundwork for what would become a family legacy. Almost 100 years and 100 patents later, Gettle's High Desert Mechanical continues to raise the bar of quality heating, cooling, and plumbing products and services in the Verdi Valley.
Call Gettle's High Desert Mechanical Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing at 567-2200 or online at GettlesHDM.com, providing solutions for your comfort. Don't settle, get Gettles.
Back to Countywide. We've got just a couple minutes left of the program. We're talking about the Clarkdale Historical Society and Museum, all available online at clarkdalemuseum.org at the moment. We got any plans for when we might reopen?
You know, things keep changing.
Yeah.
That's why we're trying to make everything available online.
Right. Better safe than sorry.
Well,
wait till it's...
Our volunteers are my age and older, and I wouldn't want to put my mom in harm's way right now.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's important. The information's available online. We would love to get open, and we will as soon as it's safe to do so for everybody.
Okay. When you do reopen, you're going to need donations. So I want to talk about that. You are a 501c3.
We are.
So donations are tax deductible, and they go right into the museum, I would imagine. Mm-hmm. Upkeep of the building and, you know, taking care of things there, right?
Yeah. You can donate anytime. Okay. As I mentioned before, we used to get donations at First Fridays. People are very generous. They have been donating. We've been lucky with grants. Any 501c3, any nonprofit is always broke. So we can always membership. We just found out yesterday during our meeting that most of our income has come from membership this past year, new membership.
Oh, nice.
So it is really nice.
That's great.
People support us.
Yeah, that's great. And then you talked about volunteers. Most everyone is a volunteer. So are you looking for volunteers right now, or do you want people to kind of make sure they remember you? And yeah, there's Nathan's a volunteer.
We are looking for volunteers because we're closed. The collections team that I'm leading is still working in there. We take in the donations, so we're processing those and just basically gathering information, also answering research requests. So we have a lot to do. We could use more people that, you know, that are interested in history and also are, you know, more working with things and information as opposed to people, because we all have people volunteers like the docents, but we're not using them right now. So people that are interested and people that, especially people that have computer skills. That's really helpful.
Okay, all right.
As you mentioned with the yearbooks, those are all scanned. Well, if you don't know how to save on your computer or copy and paste, that's not easy to do. Mm-hmm. So he's got a volunteer now that takes some of our fuzzy old pictures and makes them sharp. Just
that's nice.
It's lovely. So
preserving. Yeah.
Skills are out there.
Yeah.
You know, people that have been working in business all their life have skills, have interests, and we could sure use the help. And it's fun.
Okay.
It's really fun.
We got 45 seconds. Museum.org. If I go there, and let's say I'm up in my attic in Clarkdale, and I find something that's, oh my gosh, there's a whole box, a cigar box of old photos. I bet Nathan, Lisa, you guys would love to have those donated if possible. anything donated that's Clarkdale historical, you guys would love to see.
It has to be Clarkdale. We get donations sometimes from Mingus High School when it was up in Jerome. That's really Jerome Historical Society, and we love to say, hey, this was given to us, it's really you.
Okay.
And yay, and we all do that in the area, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
That the museums work together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in Clarkdale, we're lucky. We've got the Copper Art Museum. We've got the museum at the Verdi Railroad. People are into history. It's a story. People like the story.
All right, we're out of time. Nathan, nice meeting you. Lisa, thanks for coming back.
Thank you so much. We so enjoyed ourselves.
ClarkdaleMuseum.org. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.